Masashika points out that she's his friend, which surprises Elia, who agrees and suddenly walks away, leaving Masashika confused. Later, Masashika dreams of the good old days when he used to play with a blonde Russian girl. When he wakes up, he remembers how he was such a simp that he studied Russian just to talk to her. Yet he doesn't remember her name. The next morning, Masashika goes to class early and tidies up before everyone else arrives. Alia is the first show up and thinks hell must have frozen over for his bum ass to have woken up early. Masashika notices the dirt on her socks and asks if she stepped in a puddle, but she sits down and explains that she got splashed with mud by a passing truck.
There we go.
She suddenly changes the subject
I don't need
and
to hold
asks
it.
if he'll join the student council after all. But he
See,
insists that he'd rather
Look,
swallow
I don't need to
meals.
hold it.
Alia tries to ask something
You wanna
else,
what?
but gets embarrassed and tells him to forget it.
Video's still going.
She then begins to remove her socks, which makes Masashika weak in the knees. When Alia sees how shy he is, she gets a cultured idea and tells Masashika to get her spare sock in the locker. Masashika reluctantly agrees, but when she tells him to put it on her, he tries to chicken out. But she says it would be a nice treat for him for helping her get it. Alia switches to Russian and says it's for her too, and at this point, Masashika starts wondering if she's just using him to release her stress or something. When he asks what she said, she says she called him a coward, so Masashika grabs her foot and decides to do as she's asked. Alia starts freaking out, saying she wasn't ready yet, but Masashika tells her to stop squirming so he can get it in. However, he accidentally touches her in her restricted area, so she immediately kicks him in the face and gives him a peek of heaven in the process. The man goes down, but it was worth the treat. Later, Alia gives him cold shoulder, so he approaches her and tries to apologize, but she calls him a leg fetish scum in Russian. She then says she's not mad at him and apologizes for kicking him, but when she tries to see if he's okay, he deflects and thanks her for giving him a preview of the promised Everland. Alia is beyond embarrassed and decks him. Then she turns to run away while he chases after her. They run around school for a while, but 10 minutes later, she finally gives in. Masashika apologizes for taking it too far and offers her favorite drink as a peace offering. Alia is touched that she noticed and switches to Russian to ask if he wants a sip. Masashika freezes when he realizes she wants to indirectly kiss him, but he chickens out and pretends not to know what that means. As usual, she changes the translation and laughs to herself, thinking he doesn't understand a word she's saying. Some days later, Masashika meets up with Yuki in a storage space, and when the two start goofing off, Alia pops out and laments about being the third wheel. The girls apparently need help sorting out the storage room, so Masashika starts by bringing down some board games, which cues Yuki to brag about her last win. Alia tells the cringy couple to get back to work, then switches to Russian to wish she'd get some attention too. Masashika shivers on the spot as Alia continues to beg for him to come, while Alia thinks she's really being slick. Afterward, they head to the student council office, where the president comes in and introduces himself as Kenzaki, saying he's heard a lot about him. Masashika looks at him like an unfinished MAPPA project, and thinks it's no wonder he's the president. However, when he tries to leave, Kenzaki insists on buying him dinner to show his appreciation. Masashika tries to decline, but Yuki tells him he should accept since he's only going home to meet tumbleweeds. Kenzaki wonders how Yuki could possibly know what Masashika will need at home, but Yuki simply says they go way back. Kenzaki then invites the girls to dinner with them, and they accept. At dinner, Kenzaki praises the group for finishing their task so quickly, so Yuki starts hyping Masashika up as the reason why. Kenzaki asks him if he'd like to join the student council, but Masashika declines once again, saying he'd rather step on a Lego. Kenzaki tries convincing him by saying it'll greatly improve his recommendation, but Masashika only cares about recommending a manga he'll jizz to that night. Yuki adds to the pestering, so Masashika asks why she even needs him when she's a shoo-in to win. But Kenzaki reveals that's not true, especially since Ali is planning to run too. This surprises Masashika.
Shout out in the comments and say if you like my new voice
Kenzaki
changer or not
Masashika
on here.
walk Alia home while he takes care of Yuki, so they split up. Alia seems
Shout
particularly
out
cold to
comments.
Masashika, and when she reaches her stop, she leaves without her usual Russian simping. Masashika
And
arrives at home.
I will
and
pick
can
a
immediately
random
tell he's not
subscriber to put them in a
Inside,
video.
Yuki casually relaxes on the couch, so he asks what she's doing there, but she ignores him and reads through her favorite manga. hoping its main couple is from Alabama.
I made this video.
Masashika calls her out on pretending to be childhood friends in school, but Yuki insists that being siblings doesn't contradict that. They then refocus on the cultured comic she's reading as she demonstrates that otakus aren't born, they're made. The next morning, Masashika wakes up to find Yuki on top of him, but he tells her he's not interested in going Targaryen with her. Later, they enter the mall together, and Yuki checks out some clothes, while Masashika feels his lungs closing when he sees the price tag. While they shop, Masashika asks Yuki if she's also noticed a silver something at the corner of his eye. So Yuki says that she's way ahead of him, and noticed the peeping Tom along
I'm
the
surprised nobody of you guys
deal with the situation delicately, but Yuki doesn't give a shit.
None of you guys,
Alia tries to play it cool and
none of you guys have ever subscribed.
a few moments ago. But of course,
100% of you guys haven't subscribed,
Why are you not subscribing?
and 0% of you guys
Alia wonders what
are
the big deal is.
are
Yuki
subscribed.
explains it's a
So
spicy food
please,
joint and tells her not to come.
smack that like button and
But
hit the
Masashika
subscribe
tries to be
button.
honest.
Really
and
helped
tells
me
her
out
that
a
it's
lot.
eating
Like I said, at 500 subscribers,
Hey, it's me, your skin. Help me maintain my moisture balance with CeraVe Hydrating Cleanser.
I will literally choose one of you guys to
Alia insists that she'll
one
go.
of these
Ignoring
at
Masashika's
500
warning
subscribers.
seconds
I will
later,
choose one of you
she
guys
stands before the
and
gates
make
of
a
town,
video
looking
about
like she
you guys
died
in
while they
anime.
met.
If you
Alia
want.
starts to have second thoughts till Yuki starts running her mouth.
Deal?
making her
Deal.
double down.
Alright,
When they head in,
you know what to
Yuki
do.
explains what flavor of hell awaits her in each of their dishes. So Masashika tries to save her by going for the wildest option on the menu. The girls decide to go with this order too, and while they wait, Alia points out how boyish Yuki looks for a change. Yuki informs her that she was in bed with Masashika, that morning causing him to spit his drink, while the virgins in the restaurant eavesdrop on what it's like to get some action. Alia looks to Masashika for an explanation, but what he says sounds the same as saying she slipped and fell into bed with him. Finally, their order for 3 pools of blood arrives, and just the sight alone makes Alia jump. However, not one to back down from a challenge. She pulls out the noodles and starts to eat.
Smack it on his head.
Suddenly, she hit her like Trunk Kuman's distant cousin. But when Masashika tries to ask if she's seen Double Yet, she insists that she's fine. She starts crying as she begs for help in Russian, but every time Masashika tries to help, she refuses. Just then, who's no better than the devil,
Riley.
offers her spice to make
I
her
told her
food
to
even
do it.
hotter. Masashika realizes Yuki's doing this on purpose
You
and tries
see
to rescue
that?
No, I'm
her.
just
But
joking,
the
bro.
idiot refuses and pours some of it in.
Look at that!
Oh, I
She screams
barely
Bloody
missed
Mary,
your
and they end
face.
up outside.
Look
Masashika
at
says
that.
Hit you with the gummy. Hit you with a gummy.
So he asks if she
If
wants some
I
ice
would
cream.
do it fast, look
Alia
what it
finally
does.
goes off when Masashika suddenly asks her why she wants to be student
Jackson,
council
look
president.
what it does when I
Alia
pull
says
this
she
fast.
doesn't need a reason to aim higher.
Alright,
So
go.
Masashika asks if she has a running
The
mate.
video's still going.
She says she doesn't need one and would probably ask a random stranger just cause of the rules, but when she switches to Russian, she wishes he would run with her. This reminds Masashika of a time when he watched a girl ugly cry over losing the elections, making him feel bad. Alia asks if he's got any plans after that, and Masashika says he doesn't, and Yuki won't be back for a while, so Alia asks him to follow her shopping. Yuki says it would imply a close relationship between them, but when he realizes that Alia doesn't have any friends, thanks to her prickly Miss Perfect attitude, he decides to pity the silver
Yeah, I
senior
know.
wanted. They head to the store, and Alia wonders why Masashika is being so nice to her,
your
and gets mad when she thinks it's because he expects her to lose the presidency. She heads to the changing stalls angrily and intends to blow him away with her fashion sense, but before she starts stripping, she realizes otakus have active imaginations, so she tells him to move farther away so he doesn't hear the sounds. Relieved, she starts giving Patreon
Jaden,
subscribers
Jaden.
some content,
Jaden,
then she throws on a cute outfit to show him. So,
Jaden, look. Look at this.
heads to the changing stalls
Watch.
angrily and
Watch
intends
this
to blow
part,
him
okay?
away with her
No,
fashion
look at my
sense.
phone.
But before she starts stripping, she realizes otakus have active imaginations, so she tells him to move farther away so he doesn't hear the sounds. Relieved, she starts giving Patreon subscribers some content, then she throws on a cute outfit to show him. Suddenly, she wonders what she'd do if he has no reaction at all. When she opens the curtain, Masashika tells her she looks great, and even puts effort into the compliment unlike you do when your girlfriend asks if she looks fat. Alia draws the curtain and proceeds to have a heart attack. while Masashika simultaneously experiences liver failure from the embarrassment. Alia wonders if he's used to giving compliments because of that bitch-faced Yuki, so she decides to try a boyish outfit like her. Again, Masashika makes her turn red when he tells her she
this
looks
includes
cool.
swearing.
Alia tries on outfit after outfit after outfit, just to milk compliments from Masashika, who's probably dying inside. This time, she decides to go with something risky, and maybe tease Masashika with some skin. However, when she opens up to show him, she finds Yuki standing there in a blank stare from Masashika. Alia switches to Russian and wishes she could disappear, so Masashika translates for Yuki, who calls her a big baby. Later on the train, Alia wonders who would win between Medora and Satama, but snaps out of it when Masashika and Yuki start to say
Bro,
their
are you
goodbyes.
guys really gonna
When they
flirt?
leave, she
Is
starts
Yuki
freaking
really
out
trying
about
to
that
flirt
skimpy
with
skirt.
him, bro?
She wore with something more important
So,
fits her, and she
Girl,
wonders why
Allie,
they both
whatever,
got off at the
Allie,
same
I don't
station.
know.
Afterward, Alia heads
If you
home where her
just
sister
want to
Maria welcomes
date,
her. Maria can tell Ellie is looking kind of emo for a
Masashika,
change, so she asks what's
I
wrong.
don't care. At this
Alia
point,
tells her about Masashika
just
and his
ask,
childhood.
like, I
Making
like
Maria
you.
happy
Can
that
we
a
go
boy
out
could
on a
finally
date
break
or
through
whatever?
that
Will you
vibranium
marry
part
me,
of her.
bro? Just
Alia tries
express
to
your
play it
feelings,
off,
bro.
but Maria asks her point blank
If you don't,
if she
you're never
likes
gonna get in
Masashika.
life.
Alia deflects and insists they're just friends. So Maria asks how that's possible
Well, that
since
was
he's an
epic.
indifferent
Watch that
slacker,
again.
which Alia hates.
Jaden,
Well, it all
watch
started
this.
6 years ago in Russia when Alia's
Jen,
class
ready?
was split into groups for a class project, where the winners would get a
Boomerang.
prize. Alia was excited to do her part and went all the way into town to interview her subject study, but when she returned to school, she realized no one else seemed to give a shit. Alia tried to motivate the group so they could win, but those future couch potatoes weren't having any of it.
Just joking,
When they
bro.
saw Alia had written an entire dissertation for the assignment,
Yeah.
they had to tell her that she'll cause she was
I
doing
get it
too much.
later.
Eventually, a fight broke
I
out.
get a lighted
Alia
on
was left
fire.
all alone to finish the Loki Masters degree.
Yay!
When the
Yay!
moment of truth came,
Yay!
another group won the prize, and Alia was broken up about losing. On her
Oh,
way home,
guys, I'm
she
getting
blamed
lighted
herself
on
for
fire,
expecting
bro.
anyone to be as driven as she was, so she decided to start her woke feminist arm. Years later, she transferred into the prestigious Japanese school, where she met the deadbeat loser sleeping beside her. They exchanged introductions, but from one period to the next, Alia could see Masashika was an S-tier slacker, who probably got exhausted from breathing. However, she wasn't surprised, since she'd seen this type of behavior before. When the school festival rolled around, the kids all had different tasks to do, so Alia shouldered hers alone. Some girls tried to get her to relax since it was just a school festival, but Alia was determined to put her all into it. She pricked herself over and over, but still insisted on finishing. Masashika suddenly bust in, knowing Alia would be working herself to death. He advised her to go home, assuring her that everyone would pitch in the next day, but she insisted on staying. That's when he showed her a permission slip for the Handicrafts Club to stay in school and assist them, which shocked Alia, who wondered how he arranged it. Masashika explained his methods and told her there was no point in doing it alone. But this ticked Alia off, as she didn't understand what was so wrong with taking the festival seriously. She gave one of those eye-rolling speeches about not compromising on quality, and insisted there was nothing wrong with working so hard, since no one else cared as much. Masashika reminded her that the whole point of festival attractions is to work together, so she should be using the emotional blackmail to guilt-trip the others into working hard with her instead. However, when he sees he's at risk of receiving another speech, he apologizes and appreciates all her efforts. Alia finally agrees to head home, but she wonders what Masashika's deal is. The next day, the boys really stepped up to the plate to Alia's surprise. Not only do they get their shit done, but everyone has fun doing it, including Alia.
Yeah.
So when the school festival starts, it goes off without a hitch. Alia finds Masashika sitting alone at the after party and decides to join in. He asks if she's not joining in on the dancing, cause she has 2 left feet. Alia assures him her feet can do things he'd only ever seen on incognito mode, but she refused to dance with her many admirers. Masashika calls it a typical ice princess response, and it's apparently the first time she'd heard the nickname. Alia looks annoyed by the name and explains that the princess part makes her sound like she's some silver spoon Nepo baby. She can't exactly help it, but she's never coasted by based on daddy's name alone, so she hates it when her efforts get ignored in favor of her birth. Masashika understands and agrees not to call her the name, which pleasantly surprises Alia. She thanks him for getting through her thick skull, so she can enjoy the festival with everyone else, and apologizes for hitting him with that preachy speech about hope. Masashika tells her it's fine, but Alia insists on repaying him in a tangible way and asks what he wants. Masashika gives it some thought and asks her if she's got a real nickname. When she tells him it's Alia, he asks for permission to call her that. She asks what's in it for him, so he basically says he'll have bragging rights for being chummy with the class idol and thanks her for the honor. Just then, the smell of desperation clogs the air as the Alia fan club shows up to ask her to dance. The boys start arguing over who should get the first dance and even invade her personal space to convince her. Alia gets overwhelmed by the raging body spray, so Masashika grabs her hand and tells the boys she's already taken. Alia's heart almost shoots out of her southward cheeks as she stares at Masashika in surprise. Masashika
Pretty
challenges
hot.
her to see
Couple,
how fast
right?
she can pick up the dance.
Yeah.
She gladly takes him up on his offer. From then on, Masashika returned to being the sloth prince, so Alia began showering him with venomous violations, but deep down, she'd officially been rizzed up. In the present, Maria praises their
does
cute
look
love
like a
story,
rizzed up
while
yacht
Alia
girl.
insists that it's
Well,
not
it's
like
not
that,
Riz.
since they're merely friends.
Good point.
However, Maria knows of friends to lovers true, when she sees one since she has experience with her mystery locket lover. Alia admits that Masashika does pull through when it counts, while Maria starts gushing about her Sokun, making Alia want to barf. The next day, Masashika arrives at the student council to cover for Yuki. Maria gets excited to meet him and introduces herself as Alia's big sister and council secretary. Masashika asks if she needs help with her shopping, but Maria tells him not to be so formal since he's friends with Ace. She grabs his hand and says it's a pleasure, but something about it seems strangely familiar to her. Maria asks what his first name is, and when he tells her, she realizes something, but after hesitating, she apologizes for freezing and says it's nice to meet Alia's friend. She then switches to Russian and tells him to get going, but Masashika asks what that meant. She repeats herself correctly in Japanese and greets the president goodbye. Later, they go shopping for office supplies when Maria loses focus on a cute plushie and suggests getting one for each council member. Masashika assures her Kenzaki will die a virgin if she does that, so they agree to Ken the idea, but she insists on getting one just for herself. After they walk back, Masashika pities Alia for having such a chaotic sister. They get to their next stop, and he offers to hold the plushie, so Maria names it after Alia and tells him they look good together. They head into the tea shop, where Maria gets busy with the store owner while Masashika stands aside, realizing that Yuki would be better at this since their mother taught her. He remembers how his father broke the news of their divorce when he was a kid, so Masashika chose to go with his dad, while Yuki chose to stay with their mom. Maria snaps him out of his "that's so Raven" moment, and sees that he looks like he's in pain. She gives him a hug and pats his hair, which feels shockingly familiar and calming for him, till she burns him with a hot tea and ruins the moment. Later, Masashika...
That's what this is.
Frick, crap, I don't like that video.
Deion Sanders has done something
Guess
remarkable.
what this is.
I forgot I put ads on my video.
That was a nasty hot pocket.
Guess you guys gotta watch the ad.
This program is
Like,
dead. Now it's
whoever
over.
likes football, well, I guess you get to watch the football ad.
We're gonna watch how this thing play out.
Ew, what's this? What are these board thingies?
How much fans do you even have?
When I was younger,
Well,
my calling was to play football.
About 20,
But as I grew
25,
older,
30.
I realized life
us
isn't about how many people you can
to-
knock down. It's about
Me
how
and
many people you
Drayden
can
will
lift
work
up.
together to get a
At
lot of
Ram,
fans, right,
our
Drayden?
calling is to build game-changing trust.
We
So
got
when
a
you
lot
find
of-
your call,
I helped you
nothing can
guys.
stop you from answering it.
Whoa, it's still going.
I
Right
know.
now, during the Ram Start
I know.
Central new sales event,
We have,
qualified
well,
current
me and Drayden
FCA
have a new
season.
account now.
My biggest
Because,
fear is not being
his
there for
phone
my
got
4-year-old
restarted.
grandson.
Yeah, that phone got restarted.
In 2019,
Skip!
I beat Spencer,
I did.
and
Masashika and Maria
Oh, there you
return
guys
to
go.
the student council room, and Kenzaki tells her
stop
not to
giving
leave her
me
creepy
ads about
demon
my
plushie
own
behind.
video.
They hand him the supplies they got, and when he takes a look, he thanks Masashika for stopping Maria from turning the office to 5
Remember,
nights at
subscribe to
Freddy's.
my
On
channel.
that note, he
I
asks
have both two
Masashika
channels.
if he'd be joining the student
This is
council,
one of my
but
channels, and the other
Masashika
one is
insists
A
that he'd
Nice
rather
Call.
watch Paint Dry,
That
but
was
he
the
wouldn't
one
mind
that I
helping out
actually,
sometimes.
you know,
Maria
did.
suggests he
Wait,
could just
so-
draw on paper, making Masashika wonder why they're so hell-bent on getting him to join anyway. In return, Kenzaki asks why he'd rather get drink sewer water than join, suspecting there's something more going on. Kenzaki reminds him how he was the GOAT when he was VP in middle school, but Masashika says he didn't have goals worthy of the position. Kenzaki tells him he's nothing special and reveals
Yeah,
that he
remember
only became the
to
president
subscribe to my
just to
other
pull a baddie that was out of his
channel,
league. This surprises
And I
Masashika, so
That's my main
Kenzaki
account.
pulls out a picture of a land whale
There's
and
the-
shows it to
I'm
him.
using
When
my other
Masashika wonders who it is, Kenzaki reveals it was him 2 years ago.
I
Masashika
already
says
got
he
a
looked
lot of
like he and his twin
subscribers
brother,
on my
and
main one,
Kenzaki
but,
admits that
you
he
know,
was a lazy
Which
clown
one
on
are you
top of
on?
it.
Just,
However,
our new
everything changed when he fell for a 10 over 10 that would never look at Jabba the Fat twice.
No,
That's when
not the
Masashika
Enzo.
realizes the nerd managed to pull Chizaki with presidential wreaths. Kenzaki points
Don't
out
worry.
that even Miria joined because Chizaki asked her to, so Miria pleads guilty as charged and explains that it doesn't matter why you join as long as you work in favor of the students. Kenzaki then tells him that he and Yuki made a great team in middle school, and Masashika has nothing to be ashamed of. At this, Masashika remembers the good old days with his sister. Kenzaki spots this and assures him it would be fine if he joined just to make someone else president. Masashika promises to think about it, so Kenzaki and Miria move on to something else while Masashika wonders if he really wants to make someone president. When he asks where Alia is, Kenzaki says she's off settling a dispute between the baseball and soccer teams. Apparently, both teams have asked for permission for the school field to practice for upcoming events. The soccer team has qualified for regionals, while the baseball team has pro scouts coming to observe. Normally, Chizaki would be in charge of settling disputes, but this time, she's away on officially convenient duties, so he sent Elliot,
Oh, his
who
phone.
seems to be having
That's
trouble.
fun.
Hearing
Oh
this,
no!
Chizaki
Henry's supposed to
decides
catch
to
it!
surprise
Can I
him.
throw it back up?
Meanwhile, the baseball and soccer teams are right in the middle of a sterile,
Throw it back
while
up.
Alia watches. The guys argue over whose match is more important, but when Alia tries to chime in, the soccer team asks what her bright idea is.
Catch it! Oh,
Alia
no,
suggests
it's
they use the Riverside Park to practice, for the soccer team tries to throw it to the baseball team, but they refuse to budge. However, both of the team captains remain suspiciously quiet along with the management team. As the boys continue to argue, Alia starts to realize she's shit at this. That promise she made to herself all those years ago was finally coming to bite her in her well-rounded peaches. Since she's basically been a bitch to everyone, no one would ever want to listen to her. As she begins to cry, she switches to Russian to ask for help. Just then Masashika pops in and announces that he's now the in charge of Student Council General Affairs and is there to help. A few seconds ago, Masashika had walked up and heard the teams barking at each other while Miria struggled to calm them down. He knew Elia's approach was doomed to fail, but he figured it was good experience and was really going to pretend he didn't see nothing. However, he suddenly heard her asking for help in Russian, and it was a sound his simp ears just couldn't resist. Both teams recognized Masashika from his middle school tenure, so Masashika offers up a compromise. The baseball team would practice Riverside since they had fewer members, but in exchange, the soccer team would send over some members to help with the process. The boys begin to object and Alia tries to calm them, but Masashika simply looks toward the management team. Suddenly, the head manager offers to have her team help out, so the baseball guys do a complete 180 and accept, hoping it is something other than a home run. The boys finally settle the dispute and Masashika closes the matter, asking them to file official requests the next day, while Alia stares in surprise at Pikachu. Afterward, they head back to the office and Masashika apologizes for butting in and making her look bad. Alia lets it slide, but asks why he made that proposal, almost as if he knew the soccer manager would offer to volunteer. Masashika is surprised that Alia managed to notice, so she points out that he was staring at her the whole time. That's when Masashika explains that the manager is actually dating the baseball team's captain. Of course, Alia wouldn't notice since she was too busy monologuing, but the baseball captain hadn't said a word the entire time because he was trying to help his girlfriend, but also had to keep his priorities straight. Masashika knew the manager would jump at the proposal, and everyone would get a happy ending. The baseball team could lose focus on free DMs, the soccer team could kick each other's balls, and the lovebirds could hit when no one was looking. Masashika spots Kenzaki, who asks them how it all went. Alia says Masashika worked his magic, so Kenzaki commends them, but Masashika calls him out on setting the whole thing up. Kenzaki admits to the allegations and asks if Masashika has finally made up his mind. Masashika commits to swallowing nails and stepping on Legos just to join the student council, so Kenzaki invites him to the office to get started. Later, Alia and Masashika head home while Masashika laments getting played by yet another anime glasses guy. Alia asks if he's joining the council just to run with Yuki for council president, so Masashika asks if she'd give up on being president if he was. However, Alia insists that she'll never back down, even if it means going up against him. Masashika figured she'd say that, so he offers to make her student council president. Alia looks surprised, but Masashika assures her that if that's what she wants, he'll stand with her, and for her so he stretches out his hand. Alia wipes her tears away and takes his hand, and he announces they're officially a team. However, Alia says something in Russian that reminds him of the Goldilocks from his memory. The familiar feeling makes him smile until he realizes Elia's cutting off the circulation in his hand. Alia asks if he was thinking about another girl, making Masashika realize he's committed one of the sins of the sacred confession scene. She asks if he was thinking about Yuki after promising to be there for her, but even though Masashika denies it, Alia's only way to move forward is to leave a palm print on his face. Afterward, she stretches her hand to help the idiot up. On the way home, Masashika brags that his steez has increased from the slap, but Alia roasts him for having a barely functioning brain. When they arrive at Alia's building, she asks if he's lost feeling in his cheek, but Masashika claims that he's fine. Just then, Alia moves closer and kisses his cheek, shocking him. Alia wonders why he's so surprised, but Masashika can't figure out if that was just cheek to cheek. Alia leaves with zero answers, making Masashika wish she told him what she did in Russian. It turns out that Alia had actually told Masashika she loved him in Russian earlier, and now she's having a full-on meltdown. Even if she loved him, which she refuses to admit, he'd probably just laugh in her face if she confessed. As Alia continues to fight her pillow demon, she hears the door close. When she checks, she sees Maria sitting down, looking like something's bothering her. However, when Alia asks what it is, Maria pulls out the plushie and distracts her with it. As she walks away, she mentions meeting Masashika and understanding why Alia would fall for his ruse. Alia once again denies the allegation, so Maria advises her to confess quickly before someone else steals him away from her. Meanwhile, Masashika starts cringing from the corny ruse he displayed that day. He wonders if Alia's love confession is real, but thanks to some copium overdose, he convinces himself it couldn't be. Then he remembers his parents' breach of rose petals when he was a kid, and concludes that love is as useless as Sakura in Team 7. When he returns home, he sees Yuki's shoes outside and figures she probably set him up to join the council. He reluctantly walks in only to find Yuki with her fruit garden on full display.
Bro,
Somehow
we are not
Masashika
finishing
doesn't
this.
bat an eyelid and accuses her of doing
it's
it on
part
purpose.
5.
Yuki.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video.
For today?
Sorry, I'll do other parts soon. I know there's a lot more to it, but you know, I want to do a little bit more. We'll do some next time. Alright, bye.